After months of hard work and dedication, Keystone Park is set to open to the public in just a few short hours. Our first section of the zoo, North America, as well as her sub-areas, the wetlands and the forest, are officially 100% complete. North America is home to a variety of species, local to the region. This was crucial in keeping the costs down, as a new zoo is expensive. Our doors officially open in just a few short hours. In the meantime, before the guests officially arrive, our head keeper is going to do one final wellness check. While he's attending to that matter, and hopefully all goes well, we're going to do a little private tour behind the scenes before the guests arrive. Looking back at our zoo scrapbook, even though this series and zoo is relatively new, I'm incredibly proud and grateful for every single person that's come to view the channel recently. I seriously can't thank you enough for the support, and there's plenty more in the new year coming. Bigger and better exhibits, more intricate storylines. I promise, the content isn't going to stop anytime soon. If you like the sound of that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and join the Discord with the link in the description to become a highly valued member of our team. It makes sense to me to begin the tour of the beginning of Keystone Park itself. The entrance to Keystone Park is relatively sizable and connects to the gift shop as well as the ticket booth. It also directly connects to the parking lot. Keystone Park has access to 2 shuttle buses that'll bring guests to and from the zoo from the city. Upon arrival, guests will first need to purchase a ticket. They can also do this online before they get to the zoo. Once a guest has officially obtained their Keystone Park ticket, they'll then walk through the entrance doors of the entrance building and show the ticket to one of our highly trained staff eagerly awaiting their arrival to the zoo. Exceptional customer service is one of our core values here at Keystone Park, and I assure you, our staff will not disappoint. After a guest gets their ticket scanned by a staff member, they'll then proceed to the left through this hallway. On the other side, officially waits Keystone Park. North America, our first and only section so far, is actually the furthest away from the entrance. It's closer to the exit, matter of fact. This was done intentionally, but for now, let's tour it. The very first exhibit you're going to find here at North America is actually our waterfowl pond, and it was the first we built as well. There's a variety of local bird species around here, ranging from herons to ducks to geese to even some loons, which are a bit rare. The waterfowl exhibit is incredibly engaging because you have to walk across this bridge and get an aerial view of them. Upon getting to the other side of the bridge, you'll have a branching path. For now, we'll go right and be greeted by our 2 timber wolves. Our timber wolf enclosure is the first to feature a covered viewing. The glass will also give you a great view of their territory. This isn't one-sided glass either. The timber wolves are going to be fully aware of your presence, but they're intelligent enough to even interact with some people that happen to watch. Inside of this expertly designed habitat, we currently have 2 wolves. Most animals in Keystone Park so far are either rescued or relocated. These 2 timber wolves were rescued. The proud first lady of the pack is named Phoebe. She's incredibly social and very hyper. This is Kirby. He's the male of the pack. He's much larger than Phoebe, so they're very easy to tell apart. These 2 are going to give off a great first impression. Upon leaving the Timberwolf habitat, you'll be quickly met by our second enclosure. Due to our incredibly tight budget from having to relocate from the Orchid City Zoo after Hurricane Frontier, we found a cabin on our land that we were unable to get rid of. We then modified it to actually house our next species. Meet the red fox. It was certainly a challenge to put this exhibit together, because we took something that was already there and built an exhibit on top of it instead of starting from scratch, which would be a lot easier. 3 red foxes were located into their new home at Keystone Park, and all adjusted well. The red fox enclosure is also the first of Keystone Park to feature a backstage. It seamlessly transitions into their outdoor enclosure. They seem to be a bit tired right now. Let's continue with the tour. Upon leaving the red fox cabin, you'll then have to go up a small incline. After that, you'll see a giant under construction sign. Obviously, this is only temporary, because we're building something behind it that we don't want the public to see. If you're curious, wait until the end of the video for the reveal. Following the path, the next exhibit you'll find is the Heart of the Forest. This is actually a special exhibit for 2 reasons, the first of which is that it's our first fully indoors. The second reason is that it's actually a shared exhibit between 2 species, the raccoon and the striped skunk. They share this exhibit and have great cohabitation with each other. It doesn't look like Stella, the skunk, is in the mood to be messed with. Matter of fact, we better get out of here before we get blasted. Upon exiting the heart of the forest, you'll then be met with an area that contrasts with the rest of the zoo. This is much more wide open, as this is the start of the wetlands portion. What makes this area vastly different, besides just being open, is that every single exhibit in the wetlands has a high focus on water, the first of which is the North American beaver. As you can see, they have quite a large pool, which even allows them to deep dive as it's 2 meters deep. When the beavers do decide to go into the pool, guests can get very up close and personal to them. They can get right alongside the glass and even touch it. This was by far the most expensive exhibit to construct, and it wasn't even close, but it's going to be worth it. Some of the views you can get of the beaver are absolutely stunning. I'm incredibly happy with it. Of course, it doesn't matter what I think at the end of the day, just look at the beaver. I think they look happy. This is Willow. She's the female of the beaver, and we actually have 2 in this enclosure. She likes her pool a lot. When Keystone Park officially opens, I would be shocked if this wasn't among our most popular enclosure. This is precisely why it was built with a much more open pavilion, to house a lot of guests. To get to the next portion of the wetlands, you actually have to go up a little bit of an incline. This is probably the area of the zoo with the largest gap in between exhibits so far, but along the way to the next enclosure, you get an incredible view of the beavers out of the water portion of the exhibit. Upon entering and exiting the Beaver's Lodge, you'll then be greeted by the main portion of the wetlands. This is by far the most wide-open pavilion that Keystone Park has as of yet. The trek to get up here is well worth it, as we have our restaurant, which is the only in Keystone Park, as well as a brand new, state-of-the-art bald eagle aviary, which is actually never before seen. We built it entirely off-screen, so this is your first time seeing it as well, even if you watched every other episode in the series so far. We don't use any mods at Keystone Park, so these bald eagles are simply off the workshop from the Pack by Dino's Rule, one of the best creators on the platform. The aviary is relatively basic. It's too short to have a bunch of tall trees, so it's mainly decorated with bushes as well as a dead tree with a nest. Hopefully inside the nest, we'll soon have some hatchlings. Upon coming down from the aviary, you'll then walk past the restaurant. We'll go much more in depth of this later. There's a very unique gimmick tied with the next exhibit that we're going to get to now. It's across this boardwalk. The left side of the boardwalk may look a bit unfinished. This is because North America is always open for expansion, and if we ever do, this is where we'd come back to it. But for now, let's focus on the exhibit to the right of the boardwalk. This is our moose enclosure, home to our big bull moose, Teddy. As you can probably see, half of the enclosure's walls are actually part of the restaurant. This is on purpose. This restaurant was built so that Teddy the bull moose can get very close to the walls and greet guests that are eating. It's very good entertainment and enrichment for him. Luckily, if Teddy's feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated, he has ample space to get away from the guest viewing eye. There's plenty of trees. The back of the restaurant has by far the best potential view of Teddy. A relatively deep lake bed that Teddy can forage around in protects the guest from him. However, there's no glass actually stopping you. It's incredibly immersive for guests. Teddy is actually our most recent addition to Keystone Park. He also is by far the largest resident too, being almost as big as the other animals combined. Unfortunately, this is where the tour is going to have to come to an end, as there's nothing new to see. There is, however, one thing left to do, and we're going to be getting to that now. I'm not sure if you can hear that. It's quite faint in the distance. We are relatively high up, but I think that's the buses dropping off the very first guest. It's been so long and we've worked so hard. It's difficult to believe that this day is actually finally here. Hopefully these guests bought their tickets online, because they're running right past the ticket booths. To see the guests so excited to literally be sprinting to the zoo from the buses was an amazing sight. The guests were sure to use all of our facilities, many picking up a sweet treat to enjoy while they looked at the animals. I can't put into words how rewarding it was to watch the guests walk across the bridge of the waterfowl pond into North America. All of the hardship, all of the blood, sweat, and tears putting into the construction of Keystone Park was finally worth it, and we couldn't be happier. Having guests officially on the zoo grounds meant that we could also get some valuable insight from how they acted. They viewed the animals from some pretty creative angles. It took guests no time at all to scour every inch of Keystone Park, and luckily, it all went exactly according to plan. The guests were incredibly respectful and followed every single rule that we had set in place. For example, outside of our red fox cabin. If you didn't know, red fox are incredibly shy animals, so the guests knew to be quiet over here thanks to the signs we had previously placed. I was absolutely shocked at just how respectful these guests were. We didn't find a single piece of litter on the ground. This was incredibly touching for us, because this proved that the guests weren't only here for the entertainment that the animals could provide, but they were genuinely interested in their conservation, which is what Keystone Park means. This is more than just a zoo. It's a platform for anybody to express their passion of animals and their conservation. With the current state of the channel, and the Keystone Park opening being an overwhelmingly successful event, this proved to me that there's a market to be filled out here. There's a ton of people that are passionate about animals, their conservation, and education, and we've just scratched the surface. If I planned things correctly and we didn't have any setbacks, this video should be uploaded the millisecond 2025 starts. If you watch this video as soon as it was uploaded, 2025 should be about 9 minutes old. The reason I bring this up is because I'm actually doing a New Year's resolution, and I know these are a bit overplayed and people don't often follow through, but I want to prove to you guys that I'm here to stay. By the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026, we're hitting 5,000 subscribers on this channel. If you'd like to join the journey, feel free to like and subscribe, and other creators, leave your resolution for your channels in the comments. Unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end, including the grand opening of Keystone Park. A zoo only ever gets one opening, and I think we knocked it out of the park today. Now that we have an official profit flow and we have some income coming into the zoo, I think we can expand to new territories with a little bit more exotic animals. And wait a minute, that reminds me of something. I almost forgot.